the 542nd issue of my Marketing Booster newsletter. And today we've got some very interesting content. We're going to talk about Hailey Bieber. If you don't know, she is Mrs. Justin Bieber. And if you still don't know that, never mind, it's a big celebrity. But what I want to talk about is also Chat GPT, but we'll come to that. Why did I want to talk about Hailey Bieber is she is running a successful cooking show, and the recipe that I looked at, or rather the video that I looked at, which she posts on YouTube, is how to make a ham and cheese sandwich or a grilled cheese sandwich. And the biggest highlight of the show is, should you put mayo on the outside or the inside? Now, it may seem insane that people are interested, but they are, and they do have a lot of followers, also because it's Hailey Bieber and maybe Lily Singh, who's her guest, and they're in her beautiful bathroom, which is where it's being filmed. Now, it's all very cool, but why I mentioned this is that the content is not really that hot, right? It's just two people talking about how to make a good sandwich. So you couldn't actually steal the content. It just doesn't work without the credibility of a Hailey Bieber behind it. And why this is important to us is that Chat GPT inhales content. That's all it does. Now, it has already inhaled 300 billion words, and those words came from you, me, my website, my book, your emails, whatever it could scour on the internet that they thought appropriate to feed to it. Now, is that legal? That's a whole different ballgame. And there will be challenges, etc. But let's face it, it's already eaten the content and spat it out. Now, what it does when it spits it out is that there's no credit for you and me. It's just taken our content, and it is probably, anti-plagiarizing, whatever, but it's still our ideas that are being fed into it. But nobody will ever know that it's our content. And that is actually going to be the next big challenge for us. Now, Hailey Bieber doesn't have to worry because there is nothing to write home about in her content. But for those of us who actually did kind of make a living out of content, it is going to be a challenge because, publishers have long been battling Google, saying that Google makes money by showing snippets of their news. But at least in the case of Google, eventually it would show a click and say, okay, I got this content from NYT or whatever it is, and you could click and go there. In the case of ChatGPT, it does not reveal its sources. So you produce the best content in the world, but it's now, hidden behind this whole opaque ChatGPT. Now, the only reason why people would continue to come to your website is if they wanted to verify something that they had got out of ChatGPT, because all these AI tools, whoever's worked with, that they sound really correct, but they're not always factually correct. And garbage in, garbage out sometimes is the case. So if you don't have your own knowledge, which is able to go through it and say, yes, this is correct or not, like to do a sanity check, what you would typically do is look at the content from here, but then also do a little bit of deep reading or cross-check with a credible source. So I might come to a consultant, a doctor, or a site like a McKinsey and say that, hey, I got this kind of advice or whatever. Now let me check if this is actually factually correct. Let me do a little bit of a sanity check, and then I can go ahead and implement it. And my need for a sanity check would definitely go up depending on how important this advice was. So if I was going to ChatGPT for advice on mental health or my dental work or something like that, I would definitely want to cross-verify before I, followed this advice. Similarly, if I'm going to be doing $1 million branding project, certainly I would take pointers from ChatGPT, but I'd want to make sure that this advice was ratified before I went ahead. So my big takeaway today is that going forward, if you run a website, publication, anything like that, there are only two reasons to exist. One is if you yourself add value, credibility, and entertainment to your audience. So there is always going to be a market for Hailey Bieber's sandwich. And in her case, she's not the original content creator or the recipe creator. She is just adding the fun or the authenticity layer to it. So that's one route to go, where I basically simplify content for you, make it interesting, and give you the stamp of approval of my own credibility. The second is to produce content that can easily be used for someone to guide their search on Chat GPT, or to do a sanity check of the results that come from there. So a McKinsey website, for example, might say that, okay, so you've learned about this model, and here's what probably ChatGPT told you. Now, if you want to do this for the petroleum industry, here is our petroleum expert, and here's, how you reach out to them if, you are this kind of a company with this kind of a budget. Now, to do this, we're all really, really going to have to rethink our content, rethink the way our websites are engineered, really rethink SEO, because soon it's going to be my machines are going to talk to your machines. There are no real people coming to your website for a search. And that's going to be the next big thing as well. So people like me, yes, I hope we continue to exist. This is not my avatar. It's really me. And I would like to bring you the news as I see it every week. So do tune in, and I hope you enjoy my podcast, and keep listening.